Spirit warriors, have you ever been blindsided by betrayal, only to realize that the very lies meant to destroy you were actually planting you deeper into your purpose? It's no coincidence. When someone lies about a chosen one, they're not just playing dirty, they're playing with divine fire. You see, in the spiritual realm, the truth isn't just a concept, it's a force. A universal law rooted in scriptures like Proverbs 12:19, which says, "Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment." When someone spreads falsehoods about you, they unknowingly trigger a chain reaction in the spiritual world. That's why they disappear. It's not because you did anything wrong, it's because their conscience can't handle being near someone they wronged. Their shame becomes unbearable, their mask begins to slip, and they retreat into silence, hoping distance will hide what they've done. But God doesn't work like that. Lies have short legs and truth wears running shoes. Eventually the narrative flips. People start seeing you clearly again. The energy shifts. Those with spiritual eyes begin to sense your light and their deception. Just like Alara, whose friend was exposed by a discerning soul, the web of lies eventually collapses under the weight of divine justice. And let's be clear, this isn't about revenge. It's about revelation. When truth rises, it doesn't seek to destroy the liar, it seeks to elevate the one who was lied about. That's why you, the chosen one, must walk with dignity. Let your integrity be your defense. Let your silence thunder louder than their accusations. And above all, understand this. When someone lies about you and vanishes, it's not rejection, it's protection. God is clearing your path. Their exit is your elevation. So keep standing tall, spirit warrior. The lies didn't bury you, they planted you, and now you're rising, flourishing, and they can't bear to witness it. Because deep down they know the truth chose you. Point 1. The lie exposed the liar, not you. When people lie about a chosen one, they often believe they're building an indestructible weapon, crafted out of gossip, deceit, and manipulation, designed to pierce your reputation and isolate you from others. It's a calculated move, intended to diminish your light. But here's the spiritual twist they never anticipate. Those lies don't destroy you, they expose them. What was meant to be your downfall becomes a spiritual boomerang, flinging back at them a vivid reflection of their own brokenness. They thought they were assassinating your character, but in reality they were holding a mirror to their own soul, and the world sees it. Lies are loud, dramatic, and contagious. But truth is timeless. It doesn't rush, it doesn't scream, it doesn't need a defense team or a PR campaign because it always rises back to the top, like gold in a muddy river. For a chosen one, this is not just poetic, it's divine law. When people lie about you, it's usually not because of anything you've done wrong. It's because your authenticity, your divine assignment, and your unapologetic peace expose something in them. Their insecurities, their envy, their unhealed traumas. Your light makes it impossible for them to hide. So instead of healing, they attack. But throwing dirt on a diamond never changes its value, it just gets discovered. Here's something rooted in real psychology. This behavior is classic projection. People lie about you because it gives them temporary relief from their own flaws. You might be the one accused of manipulation, pride, or betrayal, but those accusations often say more about them than you. It's a twisted form of confession, and it backfires. Because chosen ones are protected not just by intuition or wisdom, but by divine favor. God covers you in a way they can't comprehend. Their lies may echo, but they don't stick. Their schemes may spread, but they unravel. Their motives may be hidden, but you see them clearly. And that's why your presence disturbs them. You remind them of what they tried to fake. You remind them of what they ran from in themselves. When you walk in the room, it's not arrogance that shakes them, it's conviction. You don't even have to speak. Your very being challenges their deception. Your peace feels like judgment. Your glow irritates their shadows. But here's the divine twist. God doesn't just protect you, he uses the attacks to elevate you. Romans 8:28 reminds us, all things work together for good to them that love God. When they thought they were burying you, they were actually planting you. And chosen ones don't rot, they grow. That's why they're quiet now. That's why they can't look you in the eye. That's why they avoid your name, because they know you knew the truth all along. And instead of fighting dirty, you rose gracefully. No bitterness, just better. No revenge, just results. And the weight of their regret, that's a spiritual lesson God tailor-made just for them. So keep walking in your purpose. Keep showing up with integrity. Keep shining without apology. Don't defend, demonstrate. Don't stoop, soar. Because while they sit with their shame, trying to unwrite the lie they told, you'll be living in the truth that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Let their guilt teach them. Let your glow lead you, and let God continue writing your comeback. Point 2, they lied to the wrong person with spiritual discernment. They thought they were slick, but you were chosen for a reason. You know what's funny? They thought they were slick, thought they had it all figured out. They thought they could whisper lies behind your back, spin stories in their favor, and get away with manipulating people against you. They looked you dead in the eye with the confidence of a con artist and assumed, oh, this person will believe me. But here's the twist. They were speaking to a spiritual giant, a person divinely connected, someone who doesn't just listen to words but feels energy, and energy doesn't lie. That's the beautiful curse and sacred blessing of being a chosen one. You see, people forget that those aligned with Source aren't just walking through life blindfolded. Your intuition is tuned in like a radio frequency that picks up on dishonesty, manipulation, and low vibrational intent the way a metal detector finds hidden coins in the sand. When someone tries to deceive you, it hits your spirit like a sour note in a symphony. Their words might say one thing, but their vibration, that's the real message, and it screams falsehood. There's something divinely hilarious about the fact that these deceivers truly believed they were clever enough to fool you. They were so focused on the surface that they didn't realize they were dealing with a mirror. And not just any mirror, a spiritual mirror. You reflect back the truth. You magnify what's hidden in others, especially the darkness they try so hard to bury. That's why your presence makes some people uncomfortable. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because being around you means they can't run from their own lies. They get exposed just by being in your energy field. And oh, the real punchline. When they tried to lie about you to someone else, the wrong person, mind you, that's when the truth turned the lights on in the entire room. Because here's the thing about spiritual truth. It doesn't just whisper, it roars when it's time. Lies crumble in its presence. People start to feel uneasy. Guilt creeps in. And the very same ones who tried to paint you as the villain are now trying to wipe the egg off their faces in private. You don't even need to retaliate. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain your side because the truth reveals itself in due time. You just keep walking in integrity, radiating light, and honoring your divine connection. Because God, the universe, whatever name you choose, has a track record of turning what the enemy meant for harm into a testimony. Sometimes your silence is the loudest response. And sometimes the best revenge is your peace. Let's be real, you've always been 2 steps ahead, not out of pride, but because you've done the work. You've sat in solitude, cried in silence, healed what others tried to break, and emerged more in tune than ever. You read energy now like a book. You trust your gut because it has never lied to you. That's your edge, that's your protection, that's your divine armor. So while they squirm with the weight of their own regret, let them. Let them sit in the consequences of betraying or underestimating someone who is spiritually fortified. You're not bitter. You're better. You're wiser. You're lighter. And you're rising. Because that's what happens when truth walks with you. And for the chosen ones, truth isn't just a virtue, it's your nature. It's your shield. It's your silent but powerful companion that makes sure no lie can live too long in your presence. Let them talk, let them spin, let them assume. In the end, the truth always finds its voice, and when it speaks, it sounds a lot like you. Point 3, guilt makes them avoid you. They're not scared of you. Let's be clear. What they're scared of is what you represent, the reminder of what they did wrong, the guilt that twists in their stomach every time they see you smiling like the betrayal never happened. And that right there, that's what haunts them. See, guilt has a funny way of creeping in. Not loud and aggressive like revenge, but soft, consistent, and relentless, like a song stuck in your head whispering, you shouldn't have done that. When someone betrays a pure soul, a chosen one, it doesn't just vanish from their conscience, it lives there, and not rent-free. Oh no, it's charging interest. Why? Because chosen ones operate differently. We don't lash out, we don't go on a Twitter rant, air out dirty laundry, or plot a petty revenge plan. That's not our lane. We don't clap back with chaos. We clap back with grace. And that's exactly what breaks them. You want to really mess with someone who tried to tear you down, forgive them, smile at them, rise anyway. There is nothing more unsettling to a guilty heart than a person they wronged who refuses to stay broken. Why? Because it leaves them alone with their guilt. Your peace becomes their punishment. Your joy becomes their judgment. Your glow becomes a mirror. And what they see staring back at them is everything they lack. Psychologically, this is called cognitive dissonance. It's when someone's actions don't align with their beliefs or values, and it causes mental discomfort. So imagine betraying someone who only showed you love, then watching them thrive anyway, laughing, growing, glowing. That dissonance kicks in hard. Suddenly they start asking themselves, am I the bad guy? And the answer echoes loud, yes, you are. But here's what's beautiful about grace. It doesn't just free you from bitterness, it teaches them a lesson. When you walk tall in the aftermath of betrayal, you become a living testimony. You're proof that light can't be dimmed by darkness. You show them what it looks like to be blessed by God, not because you fought dirty, but because you stayed pure. That glow? It's not just confidence, it's divine favor. And trust this, when you are truly chosen, your enemies are not your concern. They become tools, that's right. Tools in a divine lesson plan they didn't sign up for. God will use your calm, your kindness, and your comeback to teach them what it means to mess with someone covered in purpose. Proverbs 16:7 says, when a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Sometimes that peace looks like regret. Sometimes it looks like them wishing they had you back in their life, but knowing they lost the privilege. Here's the kicker. Your success doesn't just make you look good, it convicts them. They can't explain how you made it out without bitterness, how you stayed kind in a world that expects retaliation. But that's your secret weapon. That's the anointing. It confuses those who expect you to act like them. It baffles those who thought they broke you. It humbles those who once played you like a game. So keep shining, keep walking like nothing touched you. Smile like you forgot the pain. Live like you've already won because you have. Not because you got revenge, but because you grew. You evolved. You transcended the mess. That's the kind of victory no one can take credit for but God. And those people, the ones who once mocked, lied, and betrayed, let them sit with their regret while you soar in your purpose. Let them watch, stunned, as the one they tried to bury blossoms anyway. Because nothing messes up a guilty person more than seeing you happy, holy, and unbothered. Point 4. Your silence scared them more than an argument. They poked, they prodded, they plotted. Oh, they wanted a reaction. They hoped to trigger your rage, your tears, your breakdown. Because nothing delights a manipulator more than pushing someone to the edge and then stepping back innocently with a shocked, "See, I told you they were unstable." That's the playbook of the emotionally immature. Provoke, incite, then flip the script. But this time, it didn't work. You didn't give them what they were expecting. You gave them silence, calm, stillness. And that, ironically, was louder than any shout you could have delivered. Let's talk psychology for a second. The concept of grey rocking is a method therapists actually recommend when dealing with narcissistic or toxic people. It's simple. Become emotionally uninteresting. No reactions, no drama, just neutrality. Why? Because people who thrive on chaos can't stand silence. It's like throwing a tantrum in a soundproof room. No one responds. So eventually the tantrum burns itself out. When you chose silence over reaction, you became a mirror to their madness. A mirror they couldn't break. And that's unsettling to someone who thrives on control. What happens next is fascinating, psychologically and spiritually. In your silence, they're left alone with themselves, with their own words, their own actions. You didn't have to shout liar or post receipts on social media. You didn't have to blast them with a revenge plan or even speak your side, because something far more powerful happened. Their own conscience caught up to them. And that's a haunting sound for someone who's not used to facing truth. The echoes of their manipulation, deceit, and intention start getting louder in their own minds. You didn't have to expose them. They started exposing themselves. It's no coincidence that now they avoid you. They don't duck behind corners or scroll past your feed because you're dangerous. They do it because they feel naked in your presence. Not because you shamed them, but because peace exposes what noise hides. They expected war. They trained for it. They sharpened their swords. And you handed them stillness. Now they're stuck with all that armor and nothing to fight. And that silence, that's what burns. Here's the beauty of it. When you choose peace over drama, you're not just protecting your energy, you're elevating it. You've moved out of the arena where battles are fought with ego and into a space where growth thrives. Studies show that individuals who practice emotional regulation, like choosing calm over conflict, experience lower cortisol levels, better immune function, and improved mental clarity. That's not just maturity, that's mastery. You're literally healing by refusing to engage, and let's not ignore the spiritual side of this. Scripture says in Exodus 14:14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." There is divine power in restraint. There is strength in non-reaction. Because peace doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. You trusted that truth would rise without your hands having to get dirty. You knew that vindication doesn't always come with a parade. Sometimes it comes in the quiet retreat of those who once mocked you but now can't face you. So now they sit with their regret. Their words, once so loud and smug, now taste sour in their own mouths. But you've moved on, higher, wiser, lighter, because you didn't waste energy proving them wrong. You used that energy to build something right. Your life, your peace, your destiny, and that right there is the most unexpected move of all. You didn't win by fighting, you won by not needing to. Peace was your protest, silence was your strength, and the truth, it marched right in behind you, unapologetic and undeniable. Point 5. They're terrified of the divine consequences. There's something powerful, mysterious, and deeply unsettling about going up against someone who is divinely protected. And that, Earth Angel, is exactly what you are. As a chosen one, your path may not always be easy, but it's sacred, it's watched over. You may walk through shadows, endure betrayal, and carry burdens heavier than most, but you're never walking alone. When someone rises up to sabotage you, mock you, or curse your name in secret, they're not just going against flesh and blood. They're going up against something far greater, a divine force, a spiritual presence that surrounds and protects you like a holy firewall. Think about it. Why is it that every time someone set out to destroy your peace, their life took an unexpected turn for the worse? Why did their energy suddenly start spiraling, their relationships crumble, or their plans hit a dead wall? It's not a coincidence. It's karma in real time. There's a sacred principle echoed in nearly every spiritual tradition around the world. Touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. That's not a metaphor. It's a warning label stamped on your soul. When someone violates it, consequences ripple through their life, whether they believe in spiritual things or not. Let's get into the science meets spirit of it all. Studies in quantum physics now acknowledge that energy is real. Thoughts carry frequency. Intention can influence outcomes. When someone plots your downfall with bitterness and envy, they're sending toxic energy your way. But your energy field, charged with purpose, resilience, and divine light, acts like a spiritual boomerang. What they send out returns to them, intensified. That's why their chaos increases, just as they try to orchestrate yours. It's not you doing anything. You don't need revenge. The universe, in all its perfect justice, handles it. And oh, how the tables turn. Now they're quiet, distant, maybe even avoiding you. Not because you're confrontational, but because deep down they know you knew. You knew what they were doing. You sensed the betrayal before it happened. You picked up on their fake smile, their shade disguised as advice, and their low-key jealousy wrapped in compliments. And yet you stayed still. You didn't retaliate. You rose in silence. That's what makes it worse for them. They realize you were never just lucky or faking it. You were chosen, watched over, backed by something they couldn't manipulate. But here's where your power shines even brighter. You don't get bitter, you get better. Your healing is loud without making a sound. Your peace speaks volumes without confrontation. Let them sit with their regret, their shame, and their unanswered questions. That's their karma classroom. Meanwhile, you rise, not to spite them, but because your destiny demands it. Spiritual protection doesn't mean you won't be attacked. It means every attack will fail in the end. The storms may shake your foundation, but they cannot destroy your purpose. And sometimes God allows the enemy to strike, not to break you, but to reveal them, to expose what was hidden, to awaken your discernment, and to shift you into a higher level of awareness. Once you see them clearly, you rise wiser, sharper, unshakable. So yes, chosen one, When they came for you, they didn't just mess with you, they challenged the force walking beside you. A force that doesn't need to shout to be heard. A force that defends in silence. And now they're realizing the cost of that mistake. They tried to play chess with the divine and they weren't even holding the right pieces. Let karma do her work. Let divine justice handle what your heart has already released. Because while they drown in the consequences of their own actions, you rise like prophecy fulfilled. Point 6. Their circle shrunk because truth spread quietly. You didn't have to go around clearing your name. You didn't need to send out mass texts, make long status updates, or go on a PR tour to defend your character. Because the truth, authentic, raw, undeniable truth, has a remarkable way of traveling all on its own. Like a steady stream finding its way to the ocean, it doesn't need a push, it just needs time. And in your case, it flowed right into the ears and eyes of the very people who once doubted you, judged you, or whispered behind your back. Funny how that works, isn't it? In a world addicted to drama, people are quick to believe the loudest voice in the room. But eventually, even the most dramatic storytellers can't keep the plot straight. You see, lies need maintenance. They require repetition, reinvention, and accomplices willing to play along. But the truth, it just is. It stands quietly, unbothered and unwavering. And when the dust settles, it's the only thing left standing. That's why their social circle got smaller. One by one, people began to notice the inconsistencies. They began to question, to reevaluate, to see. The very ones who were so loud with their accusations suddenly had less to say. Why? Because the truth exposes what manipulation tries to hide. The mask slipped, the script got old, and the audience left the theater mid-performance. That's why they're quieter online. Their captions aren't so confident anymore. Their posts aren't dripping in arrogance like they used to be. There's a different tone now, muted, cautious, almost invisible, because deep down, they know. They know the energy they once used to sabotage your name has boomeranged back and hit them where it hurts, their credibility. The internet never forgets, and neither do the people who witnessed the fall from grace. That's also why you don't see them at the events anymore. The same rooms they once ran through so loudly have become uncomfortable places, not because you said anything, but because your silence said everything. You held your peace, and it screamed louder than any defense ever could. People started noticing your character through your calm, your consistency, and your refusal to stoop to their level. That alone speaks volumes in a world where clapping back is often glorified. Psychologists refer to this as reputation redemption. Research in social psychology suggests that people who remain consistent in their behavior, especially during times of public scrutiny, are more likely to be seen as trustworthy in the long run. In contrast, those who rely on deception, smear campaigns, or manipulation often suffer from what's called social decay, a slow erosion of trust within their circles. It's a scientific reality that liars eventually exhaust their influence. So no, you didn't have to run around chasing your innocence like a fugitive. You just had to stay grounded. You kept showing up. You kept living your life, and in doing so, you let truth become your advocate. And guess what? It did a better job than you ever could. It walked into rooms where you were absent. It whispered in ears you never spoke to. It connected the dots and let people draw their own conclusions. And now, they sit in silence. Maybe not out of guilt, but out of the realization that they underestimated the resilience of someone with a clean heart. That's the thing about truth. It doesn't just reveal lies, it reveals strength. And you, in your quiet grace, have shown the kind of strength they never saw coming. So keep rising. Let them sit with their regret. Let them figure out how to navigate a world where their lies no longer hold weight. You don't need revenge. You don't need an audience. You have something far more powerful, truth, and that always wins in the end. Point 7, your elevation proved their intention. Here's the kicker. God elevated you right in front of the very people who were lied to about you. You didn't just bounce back, you rose gloriously, and your glow-up wasn't just physical or financial. It was spiritual confirmation, a divine signature, a bold declaration from heaven itself that no weapon formed against you would prosper, even the sneaky ones built on gossip, jealousy, and betrayal. You see, when people lie about you, especially to people who don't even take the time to know the real you, they're trying to control your narrative. They want to poison the room before you walk in. That's sabotage. That's manipulation. But here's the plot twist. God doesn't need their permission to bless you. He doesn't even consult them. Instead, he prepares a table in their presence. Not in secret, not behind the curtain, but front row and center. Psalm 23, 5 style. And now your rise is the proof. The light in your life makes their lies evaporate. Your joy makes their bitterness look small. Your peace disturbs their drama. Suddenly, the people who were fed lies about you start noticing. You're nothing like what they were told. You're grounded, you're humble, you're flourishing, you've got favor. And that contradiction, the gap between what was said and what's clearly seen, becomes a mirror. And they're standing in front of it with regret written all over their face. This is where it gets even more real. The very people who laughed, whispered, rolled their eyes, or turned their backs are now avoiding you, not because you did something wrong, but because your elevation made them confront their own pettiness. Your success exposed their intentions. Your glow revealed their shadows. And trust this, they feel it. Deep down, they know they tried to dim your light. And instead, God used that moment to make it shine brighter. But here's the growth lesson. Don't get bitter, get better. You don't have to match their energy or hold on to resentment. Because God didn't elevate you to prove a point. He elevated you to fulfill a purpose. The lesson was for them, not you. Sometimes God will let people mishandle you just so he can teach them who not to mess with. Let them sit with their guilt. Let them wrestle with the silence. You keep rising, keep glowing, keep walking with grace, because when God vindicates you, no apology is needed. Your presence is the evidence. And that's a level of power no lie can compete with. Spirit warriors, here's your divine download. When people lie about you, it's not always about you. It's about them trying to cover their own shadows with your light. When you remain silent in the face of gossip, you hand over the battle to God, the ultimate judge and defender. Proverbs 19:5 reminds us, a false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will not go free. Let that truth ground you. You see, when others fabricate stories to ruin your reputation, what they don't realize is they're unknowingly participating in your elevation. Just like Joseph, who was lied about and thrown into prison, you too might feel buried, but like Joseph, you're actually being positioned for something greater. Those lies, they became the soil that nurtured your resilience, humility, and spiritual depth. Their silence now, that's not indifference, it's guilt, and it speaks louder than all the gossip combined. Your strength lies in your ability to rise without retaliation, to glow without seeking vengeance. You are the truth they couldn't manipulate, the light that exposed their deception, and the chosen one they tried and failed to cancel. So lift your chin, cleanse your spirit of bitterness, and keep pressing forward with a fiery purpose in your soul. The distance they created, that was never rejection, it was divine redirection. They didn't pull away because you were in the wrong, they vanished because their lies couldn't stand in the presence of your authenticity. So stay woke, stay wise, and above all, stay blessed. Let your glow disturb their shadows. Let your peace confuse their chaos. You don't need to speak over the noise. God already made your truth echo louder than their slander ever could. Keep walking, spirit warrior. Your silence is a weapon, and your light is doing exactly what it was meant to do, shine.